Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest webinar program here at QSR on how to drive revenue with one-to-one marketing, sponsored by Paytronix. So first of all, before we get started, I just want to do a couple of quick housekeeping notes. You can ask questions in the Ask Question widget, which you can do at any time throughout the program. You do not need to wait to the end to ask a question. So if something is said or comes up and pops into your brain, feel free to go ahead and do that at any time. And as that cool little graphic there also suggests, you can expand the slides with the icon in the top right corner of the slide widget. A couple quick troubleshooting. I won't read all these, just know that you can also ask a question if something happens and our team will answer it for you. And yeah, before also I introduce Rachel, just a note, this program is on demand, so we will send it to you afterwards and you can watch it again at your leisure. So Rachel Peterson, the loyalty strategist at Paytronix, is going to be your presenter today. So thank you, Rachel, for joining us. I will hand off the controls here, and thank you again.
Awesome. So my name is Rachel Peterson, and I'm a strategist on the strategy analytics team with Paytronix, now an Access company. I've been with Paytronix for about 3.5 years, and prior to that, I worked for brands like Cici's Pizza and Taco John's on their marketing team. So today's webinar, as Danny mentioned, is focused on how to drive revenue with one-to-one marketing. So we will dive right in. So first, what is one-to-one marketing? One-to-one marketing focuses on personalized interactions with individual guests using data to customize messaging and offers. So instead of sending campaigns to a broad audience, it's more focused on getting the right message to the right guests at the right time. We found at Paytronix that when guests can relate to messages they receive, they are more likely to take action. And then when done at scale, brands are able to increase engagement and in turn, revenue. So why is this important? On average, each person receives about 121 emails per day, which is absolutely insane. And because the market in your inbox is so saturated, we found that personalization sets brands apart and drives customer engagement. When you personalize the experience for your guests, such as using behavior-activated and time-sensitive offers, it makes guests feel like you understand their unique needs and preferences, creating a stronger connection between you and the customer. This then leads to an increase in revenue. We've done a study, or we've seen a study that showed that personalization drives an additional 40% of revenue. So of course, it's very important, especially for restaurant brands. So talking through this slide a bit, there's 5 benefits that we identified specific to the restaurant industry that makes this customization important. First being loyalty innovation. So loyalty is a great way to use one-to-one marketing because it allows you to shift from just transactional rewards to relationship-based rewards. This allows you to do things like rewarding guests for specific behavior, such as visiting for a specific day part, or rewarding guests for their frequency with the brand on top of your core loyalty program. This also leads to increased transaction share. We see that restaurants that used a more personalized marketing approach see up to 30% of their transactions from loyalty customers. We like to refer to this metric as penetration, so the percent of checks from loyalty members, and it's a great way to measure overall program performance. We see that brands using a one-to-one strategy see loyalty penetration rates of 37% and above. Because of a loyalty program's ability to change guest behavior, these higher penetration rates lead to a larger impact to a brand's bottom line, and we start to see that campaigns that they use drive overall sales. Additionally, personalized offers. Personalization offers a competitive advantage in tough economic conditions. So instead of offering one offer for everyone, you can make the offer specific to individuals and increase the likelihood that guests will take action because they feel the offer is just for them. Finally, this all ties together for proven financial impact. Restaurants who have a personalized approach to loyalty and marketing overall see an 18 to 30% increase in customer retention and spend. We're going to continue and discuss how to leverage AI for personalization. So AI enables deeper insights into customer demographics, behaviors, and preferences at scale. So you can take a group of individuals with common preferences, like, for example, maybe guests prefer a certain menu item like burgers. We can use this information to send them images of burgers in their marketing, whereas maybe another group tends to purchase pizza. So those guests would receive marketing emails with images of pizza. This personalization may seem small, but sending guests images that are relevant to them increases the likelihood that they will engage with your brand. AI comes into play when you use machine learning to predict customer needs and automate personalized marketing actions, allowing you to segment more accurately. At Paytronix, our clients use both predictive and descriptive analytics that develop intelligent attributes in order to segment guests. So in our 2024 loyalty report, we show a case study where Uno Pizzeria and Grill was able to increase average monthly orders by $125 per month through AI-driven upselling, which is a product specific to our online ordering platform. But how it works is instead of offering everyone breadsticks as an add-on to their order, AI allows us to suggest items specific to what that guest typically will purchase to increase their likelihood to add additional items since the offer is relevant to them. A good way to think about it is not everyone is going to want to add breadsticks, but maybe if you give them an offer for a drink because they typically will add that to an order, you can determine what items guests are interested in, and that leads to increased engagement and in turn revenue. To take a small step back, we want to talk about how one-to-one marketing actually works. And it really all starts with gathering customer data. So this is where loyalty programs become beneficial because we can utilize data to detect patterns in purchase histories and interactions. With enough data, we can then apply predictive modeling to forecast future customer behaviors and preferences. And then lastly, we'll develop personalized marketing messages using automated workflows that trigger personalized marketing actions based on real-time data. Anytime we talk about gathering data on customers, we do want to also know a couple of things. So it is important that you comply with all regulation and privacy laws. Only gather necessary data for specific marketing objectives to improve privacy and then simplify the management of the data. And then finally, be sure to use transparent data collection practices to keep customers informed and in control of their data. Once you have the data on your customers, you then have to take the extra step to analyze the data. At Paytronix, this is where the strategy analytics team comes in to help our clients the most. However, you can do this on your own as well. So one of the ways to analyze customer data is by leveraging big data platforms that process large volumes of data and reveal actionable insights. One process my team uses is cohort analysis and clustering techniques to detect common characteristics and behaviors among groups. For us, this is where intelligent attributes come in, and we're able to identify different groups of customers and target them in different ways. Lastly, apply time series analysis to identify trends and seasonality in buying patterns. As an example, an ice cream brand may have very different marketing needs depending on the time of year and behavior of their guests. All of this allows you to identify patterns that predict buying behaviors. One example I did want to share from a Paytronix customer is this case study from Primanti Brothers, where they use predictive modeling to segment guests based on how many visits a guest missed. So this was done back around COVID, and we developed this intelligent attribute to determine how lapsed a guest was. Guests that had been lapsed for a longer period of time received a richer offer than guests who visited more recently. This in turn led to a 90% visit increase, a 50% increase in spend, and then a 16% re-engagement across all offers. In the next couple slides, we'll talk through how to develop personalized messages. There are some real-life examples as well to show how Paytronix clients have used these strategies to see success. First, we want to consider segmenting audiences effectively, which we've discussed a bit throughout the presentation already, but using data to target specific customer groups. This allows you to consider things such as purchase habits, preferences, life stages, etc., to precisely target customers, and also use advanced analytics to dynamically adjust segments as new data becomes available. So the example on this slide shows Legal Seafoods and how they leveraged Paytronix strategy analytics expertise to implement a high-value limited time offer, which resulted in a 60% increase in loyalty membership and a 366% increase in daily registrations. We also want to consider content personalization to create messages that will align with individual preferences and behavior. So this could mean tailoring content to user behaviors on the website, earlier purchases and engagement, and using dynamic content insertion in emails or websites to personalize based on real-time data. This can also allow you to know when to message people based on their engagement. So an example here, an active guest might receive more frequent messaging than guests who are less active with the brand, and might be more likely to opt out of messaging if they do receive too much communication from you. Finally, there are additional techniques for crafting messages that resonate individually. We talked a little bit earlier about using images for guests based on their order preference, but you can also use data such as where they are in their life cycle to make messages more relevant. Guests who just joined your loyalty program might need a different message than a guest who has been with your brand for a long time. So that's something to consider as well. We highly encourage our clients to use a test and learn strategy. So because each brand and its customers are different, using A to B testing will help determine what the most effective approach is and how different groups and guests will react and engage differently. And then an example on this slide shows a really simple way that you can use personalized messaging through birthday-specific offers. So we have a Paytronix client that utilized a personalized birthday program, which saw a 47% redemption rate and improved engagement, and contributed to a 26% increase in visits for guests during their birthday month. So it can be simple steps that personalize the experience for guests and have a larger impact on your overall business. This slide has a few other examples. Again, another birthday promotion that enhanced profitability. So an urban casual dining chain applied Paytronix automated promotion tools and set a spend threshold for their birthday program eligibility, leading to a 28% increase in guest visit and significant fraud reduction. So instead of giving every individual the same offer, guests who might have spent $0 might get a smaller offer compared to a guest that spends $500 with your brand a year, and they get a richer offer to show just that appreciation, and also to limit guests from only taking advantage of that one offer a year. Another example of this is win-back campaigns that a lot of our clients use. In this example, a fast casual chain used our win-back, our one-to-one win-back for a We Miss You promotion. So instead of a typical 30, 60, 90 approach, we use guests' individual behavior. So if they're a monthly visitor versus a weekly visitor, we know when to message them based on how lapsed they are in their journey. And we've seen that this win-back technique allows us to achieve greater ROI. In this specific example, 11 times greater by re-engaging those lapsed guests. And then lastly, Twice Daily utilized our online ordering and loyalty integration to achieve 225% sales lift and a 95% increase in unique customers through the branded mobile app using personalization. So we have more examples of this on our website, a lot of different case studies and examples, ways that our clients have used personalization and how it's worked for them if you wanted to explore more of that later. Lastly, it's important that when you do implement any marketing strategy that you're using tools to measure campaign success on a regular basis. So strategies that we use at Paytronix are tracking key performance indicators, KPIs, of course, and we do that in a few different ways. One of the ways that we use a lot is withholding a control group, which allows you to eliminate some outside factors and measure visit and spend lift to see what the campaign drove incrementality. You can also use customer lifetime value to track over time how your program is engaging guests, as well as using interactive content like polls, quizzes, or surveys to increase customer engagement and interaction. As you're measuring KPIs, be sure that these are aligned with your business objectives. So consider company goals when planning and analyzing campaigns. As an example, if your goal is to drive frequency, determine if the campaign did in fact increase frequency or if there's a better campaign strategy that might have a bigger impact. So it's a lot of using that test and learn strategy to determine what works to continue to optimize your overall strategy. And then it's also important to regularly review and adjust the KPIs measured to adapt to seasonal changes and customer shifts. At Paytronix, we use a few different tools to measure personalized marketing. First, our integrations with POS and CRM systems allow us to simply identify key purchasing triggers like rewarding guests for purchasing particular items or particular time of day or day of week. Our robust analytical tools allow our clients to easily identify effective promotions and refine their marketing strategies. And then finally, we offer custom reporting that allows our clients to track success of personalized offers and inform their strategic adjustments. One-to-one marketing isn't only for emails. It's important to also integrate personalization in your broader marketing strategy. As an example, personalized mobile app notifications can be useful for increasing customer action. We've discussed loyalty throughout this presentation as well, but a personalized approach can also drive member engagement. Not only can you use one-to-one marketing in your campaigns, but you can use data from your customers to also drive decisions on what type of program to offer your customers. If you're considering changing that program and just making sure that it's the right fit for your customers. And then the last thing to consider is that you want your customers to have the same experience with you, whether they're in store or seeing email communications, to lead to a more memorable customer experience. So make sure that those two are cohesive for the customer. All right, I've talked a lot, so I'm going to pass it over to Danny. He's going to go through any questions that are in the question box.
All right, so we are going to start with a question about how are the marketing reward/offer messages determined?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that a lot of our clients rely on that test and learn strategy that we talked about a little bit in the presentation to determine what offers work best. So it could be just simply starting with the campaign with an offer like $1 off to see what type of engagement that triggers. So using a control group, you can withhold 10 or 20%, typically a larger percent for a smaller database to determine if that offer did drive incremental visits or spends. That's the way we typically do it. If you are able to do A/B tests, that can also help to determine if a product-based offer works better than $1 off, for example.
All right, so the next question. What do you use to ID a customer, comma, phone number, question mark? So it might be phone number, might be something else.
Yeah, so our clients use different ways to identify customers. I know that phone number is a way for some clients. We also use a card number, app check-in. It really does vary based on POS capabilities and the brand.
All right. Okay, looking. All right. Okay, so this is a bit of a longer question, just as a precursor. So my company is already taking advantage of birthday promotions and the win-back campaign. What is something else I can do through Paytronix to enhance our one-to-one marketing to our customers? We use a different company for our online ordering. How can we personalize mobile app notifications?
Yeah, I'll try to take this kind of a step at a time. So it's great that you're using the birthday promotions and the win-back campaigns. Another thing that we typically will recommend, kind of as you're building out your campaign strategy, is making sure that you have a nurture flow. So once a guest joins your program, making sure that they're being communicated to in a way that helps them understand like what your brand's about, how the loyalty program works, and encourages them to get to 3 visits. We found that typically when guests get to their 3rd visit with a brand, they're much more likely to stick with that brand. That's why a nurture flow is recommended to push those guests along, using offers along the way. And then in terms of personalizing mobile app notifications, there's a variety of ways that you could do this. Happy to talk through this with you a little bit more on a different time maybe, but in our tool, you can see all the different parameters. So using a first name in your mobile app push notifications could be just a very simple way to capture a guest's attention, for example. There's also different triggers you can use to attach to something like a push notification. So happy to talk through that again, more in depth with you, Alexis.
Okay, so can you give us more information on examples of cohort analysis and clustering techniques?
Yeah. So a lot of our clients will use a kind of a basic clustering technique. With strategy analytics, we call this advanced segmentation. So we can group guests by their recency, frequency, and monetary spend to determine like who are your best guests, who are kind of just below that, maybe different patterns of like guests who spend a little bit less, but they're still fairly frequent versus guests who spend more and have the same frequency. So that's one of the ways. We also use menu clustering, for example. So I gave the example earlier in the presentation of guests who prefer pizza versus burgers. So that's something that we can also do. It is a custom analysis that's only available to our strategy and analytics clients at Paytronix, but those are just some examples that we've used. I've also heard of clients using day part scoring. So determining if guests prefer lunch versus dinner to either change behavior or continue to encourage that same behavior from your guests. So just a couple examples there.
Okay, so a question from Andrew here on what is your solution around retargeting lapsed guests to differentiate them from guests who may be totally inactive / moved, etc.
Yeah. That's a great question, and we talk to our clients a lot about this as well, because as you know, there are reasons that a client or a customer might completely be lost from your loyalty program because of a lot of different factors. Maybe they have moved, maybe their preferences changed, maybe their dietary needs changed. So we do use the one-to-one win back mostly across our clients to capture guests before they get to that point. So it generates 3 dates for our brands to use. One of them is called slowing down. So that's a guest that like maybe they visit weekly and they missed a week. So we know that they're starting to like slow down in their frequency. So that's a touch point that we can reach out to them for. The next being that they're lapsing. So maybe we give them a small offer to get them to come back. And then likely to have lapsed, we usually recommend a stronger offer. For those totally inactive, moved, etc., we have clients that will do campaigns to maybe people who haven't visited in 12 months or 2 years. These campaigns could be targeted to larger groups that are pretty inactive. So the customers that you do activate are typically incremental because they haven't visited in so long. That's the way that you can re-engage those guests. And then lastly, sorry, a long answer, but a lot of our clients use different filters and can typically group people who they believe are totally lost from their program. So maybe setting, depending on what your frequency is with your brand, maybe setting parameters. So you're looking at people who haven't visited or haven't opened an email in 2 years, and you can move those to a group or segment them out of your communication just because they are less likely to re-engage if you're sending them marketing.
All right, a shorter question for you. How can I bring this one-to-one marketing into my app?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you are a Paytronix client currently, but our app that we offer our customers has features that allow you to target specific individuals based on their preferences. So again, back to the example of images of pizza versus burger. With our app tools, we're able to show different customers different images within their app. So that's just one of the ways that you can personalize it. Again, I'm not sure if you're a Paytronix client or if it's outside of your, or if you're with a third-party app, but that's one of the ways that we do it with Paytronix.
All right, sorry, I was just picking a question for you.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so can you provide examples of how personalized marketing has significantly impacted customer retention and revenue in real-world scenarios?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find that question. Can you repeat that just so I can wrap my mind around it?
Yes, so can you provide examples of how personalized marketing has significantly impacted customer retention and revenue in real-world scenarios?
Got it. Yeah, so some of the examples that I've shared throughout the presentation kind of point to that. There are more examples, like I said, on the Paytronix website that show different case studies. That's a really helpful resource that I refer to myself as well as for my clients. So with one-to-one win back, I know I've talked about it a few times, but we've seen that work really well for all of our brands really to increase their customer retention and in turn increase revenue for your brand.
All right. What are the common challenges when shifting from broad-based marketing to a one-to-one approach? How can they be overcome?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think some of my clients struggle with this if they're used to sending out marketing emails to everyone. There's a few different concerns of, well, what if you send an offer to one person in your loyalty database and another person doesn't get the same offer? Like, what if they talk and what if they feel left out because they didn't get the same thing? That likely doesn't happen. So that's one thing to consider. It's also hard, I think, shifting the different audience sizes. Again, like you want to make sure that you're communicating to all your guests and you're not leaving anyone out. But we've found that when you are more strategic in your approach, when you are targeting people based on relevant messages to them, we typically see that this drives overall better engagement than those blanket emails that you send to everyone. Yeah, I think that answers the question. If you...
All right, so one more question, and then we will close it out here. So how does one-to-one marketing integrate with other marketing strategies, such as loyalty programs or promotional campaigns?
Yeah, I think going back to, I think the last slide that was shared and how you want to integrate the one-to-one approach across a lot of different mediums. So you have your loyalty program kind of as a base. That's what you use to gather data and inform your decisions, and that then allows you to know like what types of campaigns work for your customers. It really works really closely together. And I think this can also be translated in store as well. I think a good example that I thought of recently, I'm sure everyone has seen all the changes that Starbucks is making with their in-store experience. So going from more of a broad approach maybe to something a lot more personal, where they're now like making sure to write your name on the cup and write little notes. I think that's just how Starbucks is increasing their one-to-one interaction with guests, not only through email, but also in store as well. So I think that's an example of a brand that's doing it in multiple mediums. And I know it's early with them, but hopefully it'll work out.
Okay, well, thank you again, everybody, and to Paytronix for sharing all this information. A couple of quick notes. These slides will not be available, but like we mentioned at the beginning, you will have a chance to watch the webinar on demand. So please take a moment to complete the survey. As I noted, the webinar will be available on our website. And as always, thank you for joining us on this program, and we'll see you on the next one.